Okay, so I'm just going to show you a few quick slides. I'm going to go really fast because I want to get to the speakers because I think that's where you're going to get the value today. And so think of me like your spouse has the clicker and you don't have a version on your phone. So it is about the future, and our last session was future is now, but the future of it, what's happening with industrial data and what's happening with data platforms in the age of AI. So there's a lot happening, and we're seeing a lot of different and newer types of data historians and data platforms. And what I think it'll end up looking like at one point is platforms of platforms. I think you're going to see multiple platforms and different types. So what we see, the traditional historian would take and collect a lot of data sources, and some people don't even have all the data that they need, I'm hearing. They collect it, they store it, they put it in context. And data context seems to vary quite a bit. If you talk to one person, what data context means is a little different than other people, and it's getting better, I will say that. But, went too far. And also it's about the visualization and making sense of the data so that the user experience, and about the data insights and actions. And what we're seeing with these platforms is everybody wants seamless, or they say they're seamless. They're interoperable. We're seeing a lot of tools, data management tools around data movement, data quality, and also low-code, no-code platforms. Scalable, secure, these are all the things that we're seeing. So as far as the types of data that we did for this particular research, the structured process data is the bulk of the data in the operational data and industrial data platforms. And you can see by the size of the that dark big bubble, that shows you the licenses and services dollar volume. And you can see that that's the data, and I'm not going to explain this chart completely, but if anybody would want an explanation after this, my team, actually, part of my team's here, and that's Andre in the back, and he's a terrific part of the team. We all work together, we're all very collaborative, and the other part is out by the registration desk, and that's David Clayton. And he said he would explain, if anybody wants to come out after this session, he'll explain the charts. But the other part of it is we see a lot of the unstructured data, and that's probably the part of the data that's increasing the fastest. And that's video, imagery, and so on. And plus, it's part of some of the, I would say, the digital twin data. Some of that is in there. And then we're also seeing a lot around the 3D virtual reality that's growing the fastest. So it also varies a lot by industry, the data. And you can see that the biggest data collector is the electric power generation in terms of software and services. And you can see that the fastest growing on this chart is the refining. And then the other big industry besides the electric power is chemical, and then followed by the, what was the other one? Oil and gas industry. But you can see that the right side shows you what's growing the fastest, which is refining and oil and gas. You can see textiles is very, very small at the bottom there, as well as cement and glass, the little tiny dots, if you can see them in the back of the room. So there's a lot of industrial data challenges. And in digitization, the digital transformation, it is all about the data. So some of the challenges, we've been seeing tons and tons of these challenges, and every year I think, I'm going to be bored out of my mind doing the same research, but every year I see changes and I see different modernization, I see things that are happening, I see new applications, I see new data tools that people need. So it's a very interesting time, and I really think that we're at that influx of technology, people, and data, and you're going to see some things taken off exponentially, which is why I think the future of industrial data is going to keep going up and changing rapidly. So, and the other thing we're seeing is people want to have data from all different types of operations. They want to have it from the operational side. They want to have it from, we're seeing engineering design. We're seeing some platforms that actually join the engineering documents like the P&IDs, which do have some value in operations, and it could save some time. And also, they want some of the business in it both ways. So they're really looking for the data combined into what they call the ITOT, ET enterprise data. So they want to be able to access it, make it usable, and be able to use the data when they need it and get actionable, data-driven insights to their users. So we also asked, well, where does the data reside? Is it on-premise today, or is it more in the cloud? Is it hosted, which would be that they maintain it, whether it's on-premise or in the cloud. So what you can see is in 2018, I looked back, as we'd been doing this for a long time, the almost 90% of the data, and you can't see the numbers because I didn't have time to make them large enough, but you can go from on-premise from 89% to 82% today is on-premise. So 82% of the data is still on-premise. So there's a lot of people that, in some industries, people have said to me, we're always going to have some data on-premise, which may be true. They might have it on the edge or their cloud, but they are going to have it on-premise. And then some people, because they said the risk is too high for them to be in the cloud, and then other people say, oh no, we're all in the cloud. So I've heard both from people. And so we are seeing the fastest increase with cloud, and we've gone from 6 to 15%. So there's a lot of technology trends that we're seeing that are kind of around the data, that like the cloud and the edge, all the different platforms that we're seeing. We're seeing the data management tools. But the one that's like near and dear to my heart, of course, is the user experience. Because if the user experience is intuitive and simple and easy to use, they will use it. And AI, of course, to me, is really going to be a game changer because it's going to help identify things in the data that you probably would have missed. You know, even if you're like an ace at this. And there is a thing with, there is some challenges with AI, like data bias, for example, or having bad data. But ultimately, the culture has to be data-driven. And there's a lot of value in the data. And there's also a lot of value in some of these new AI tools and AI agents that you're seeing. And you can have a top-down and you should have a top-down and a bottoms-up approach. But the top-down to me is the most important because it's kind of like you're driving in the fast lane and you know that you won't get a ticket. So you can go a lot faster if you have top-down commitments for the data. And AI is important, but also the operators, the engineers, everybody's important. It's important that they all operate together and collaborate. So my message to everybody is transform your data into value. It's very, very important that you get the value because that's how you get the top-down commitment. And leverage some of these new technology that you've seen throughout the forum and embrace a digital culture. And so this session will explore how users are addressing industrial data, data platforms, data architecture, and how these technologies are changing. So thank you very much. And with that, I'd like to invite Michael Hodling, I gotta make sure I say this right, on stage. But thank you very much. He's from ExxonMobil.